Scared you, didn't I? Buy my product, it'll help. This is how hysteria is used in modern times. I know this because, all my life, I was never book smart. I'm money smart. It makes me more intelligent, Fear is a very powerful human emotion. We know this, so many people try to use fear to control people, as fear has done many times before. One of the most well-known examples of this is the Salem witch trials. In the 1600s, the town of Salem, Massachusetts was overcome by a fear of witchcraft. Oh, shiver me timbers! It's a witch!
Witches. I hate witches. Witches.
This fear caused people to leave their homes, accuse their family and friends, and even kill people just because someone said they were a witch. A play that shows this very well is The Crucible by Arthur Miller. The Crucible tells a dramatized story from the Salem witch trials. It follows a ragtag group of friends and neighbors as they tear each other apart because they thought some of them might be witches. They start off seemingly normal. Yeah, some of them don't like each other, but that's only just because they have preconceived beef between each other. But then, some major tomfoolery is discovered.
Some of them might be witches.
Those harlots, am I right?
But it doesn't stop there.
Some of them might have been practicing witchcraft. When these heathens are discovered, they accuse a bunch of other random people in order to save themselves. These baseless accusations resulted in the apprehension and sometimes even executions of innocent people. Even the people who were trying to help everyone weren't safe from the allegations. It's almost like they've been hypnotized into turning against each other. This is some of the power of fear. It can cause people to turn against each other. Also, fun fact about the Crucible, it's actually an allegory for the Second Red Scare and McCarthyism. Smooth transition! After World War II and then the start of the Cold War, there was a growing fear of communists in the United States. Fear? Now where have I heard this before? There were also a lot of baseless accusations which resulted in the apprehension and sometimes even of innocent people. This movement against anything remotely communist was spearheaded by Joseph McCarthy, an old cranky mob boss looking guy who hated anything remotely communist. He wholeheartedly believed that communist spies had infiltrated the government, schools, and film industry and were planning to overthrow the government. This caused a bunch of people in the film and entertainment industry to be blacklisted from work, and in the case of Arthur Miller, arrested. McCarthy claimed that he was America's only salvation from the communist threat. Many people went to McCarthy because they thought that he was the cure for their fear of communism, until it was found out that most of McCarthy's claims were a bunch of horse. Now, some more recent cases of mass hysteria deal with very heavy topics, so let's take a look at something a little more lighthearted. I hope you're ready for child endangerment! Pokemon is the highest grossing franchise of all time, and it's terrifying to see how lazy they are. However, that's not the main case of hysteria involving the franchise. On December 7th, 1997, the Pokemon episode Den-o Senshi Porygon was aired in Japan. This episode reportedly caused over 10,000 viewers to experience nausea, blurred vision, headaches, and dizziness in minor cases, and convulsions, loss of consciousness, blindness, and seizures in more severe cases. Japan's fire department agency also reported 685 children had to be sent to the hospital. Most of these kids recovered on the way to the hospital. However, more than 150 had to stay in the hospital, and 2 of them had to stay for 2 weeks. Wow, wasn't that lighthearted?
Little Dip is one of the ones!
Y2K, or as I like to call it, Yeek, Vela, I'm yeeking out right now, is one of the largest events of mass hysteria in the United States. Yeek just means year 2000. People weren't scared of the new millennia, they were scared of a computer bug that would come into existence because of the new millennia. Computers back in the day had extremely little processing power, to the point that in order to save that processing power, they stored years as 2 numbers instead of 4. So a year like 1997 would just be stored as 97. Due to this, there was a growing concern that 2000 would be stored as 00, and then be seen by the computer as in 1900. This might not seem like a huge issue, but when very vital industries rely on having the correct date, like banking, electricity, and transportation, yeah, it kinda is a very big issue. These industries could have major issues or even shut down in the worst cases, causing the world to end, as some people said. Millions of dollars were spent in order to quell this fear of Y2K. Even despite this, businesses started selling Y2K survival kits and people started preparing for the end of the world. Yeah, nothing happened. The only bug that really happened was a nuclear power plant in Ishikawa, Japan had some of its radiation equipment fail, but backup facilities ensured there was no threat to the public. Also, the United States detected some missile launches in Russia and attributed that to the Y2K bug. But this was planned ahead of time as part of Russia's current conflict with the Republic of Chechnya. In the end, countries that did nothing to prepare for Y2K ended up having the same amount of issues as countries who spent millions of dollars on it. Well, that's another event to add to the long list of end-of-the-world dates. Hysteria is wild. It makes people do things they wouldn't otherwise do, and can even have physical effects on people like twitching, shaking, trouble walking, uncontrollable laughing and weeping, communication difficulties, and trance states. People will even accuse their friends and family of actions that could get them apprehended, or even killed. Prohibit the airing of kids' media, prepare for the end of the world, hell, even dance in the middle of the street until you die, all because of hysteria. Wow.